G'day guys, Seeney here, and in this episode, we really need to talk about something that's just happened with the tattooed chef. So thank you guys so much for watching. Please make sure you like and subscribe to this channel. Really helps to get these videos out to more people. So anyone that's been following Tattooed Chef stock recently has known that it's been on an absolute tear. It's been absolutely insane to watch it once it dived, and now it's come back really strong. You know, we saw that stock all the way down at like $16, $15 a share, and now it's up around $21, $22. Now during that time, I was actually buying really heavy again. So my position in Tattooed Chef, now that we've seen the rise in that, with the additional shares that I've purchased, is now worth $93,000. So pretty big position at this point. You know, every single percent that it fluctuates, it equals about $1,000 either out of or into my pocket. So big position, but there's some really interesting news that I wanted to talk about with Tattooed Chef that's actually come out. Now, Tattooed Chef is a small company, you know, in terms of the stock market. You know, it's only valued at, I believe, 1.7 billion. And when you have companies such as Apple or Amazon that are valued at multi-trillion dollars, you know, Tattooed Chef is a small company. But what we've found is that Wallstreet Bets has actually uncovered Tattooed Chef more and more. Now, the reason that this has happened is because the short float for Tattooed Chef, which is the amount of shares that have been sold short, is at 37%. Now, if you didn't know, this is really high. This is a really high short number. And what we've seen in the past from stocks that have been heavily shorted like this is massive short squeezes. You might be familiar with the GameStop scenario. Now, I believe that more than 100% of the shares that GameStop had out there were actually shorted. A lot of people were expecting this company to go to zero, and that's how they'd make their money. But you see, someone uncovered that the short float on this was really high, and they managed to exploit this into a short squeeze, which saw the price of GameStop absolutely go through the roof. You know, we're talking hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of percent. I believe it's over 1,000% that GameStop actually went up at the peak of its short squeeze. So a lot of people think this squeeze hasn't happened. Who knows? It's not something I've been following, but we're seeing something similar happen with Tattooed Chef. Now, there's a bit of due diligence that someone has done, which they've posted to the internet. I just wanted to go through and have a look at some of this. So basically, they've said that Tattooed Chef is a wildly asymmetric bet. And what they mean by that is that there's probably not too much downside, but there's a lot of upside. So of course, you know, you need to make your own decisions. Don't take someone's word for it on the internet, especially with the options. So what we're seeing is that there's a risk that the shorts are actually getting trapped in this one. So they do a quick summary of TTCF, you know, all the things that we've talked about on this channel, you know, revenue growth of 52% year over year, it's big growth. Now the short interest is actually huge. You know, it's 61% of the actionable float and 37% of the entire float. So the 61% of actionable float is stocks, shares that are actually out there to trade. So this is quite high. And we're seeing the short borrow rate spike to 200 and 300%. You know, it's very high to be borrowing these shares. So basically what that means is that people are paying like 200, 300%. Just so that they can get like a 5% gain, basically. You know, that's what the argument is in this due diligence. So we're seeing a massive short constraint. And what happens if there's not that many shares that are available out there? When it comes time for someone to sell their shares, if they've shorted the stock, they've actually got to buy it back, which means that if there's no shares, the buyers can actually set the price. You know, how high is that going to go before they're willing to sell their shares? And in the case of a short squeeze, you know, a lot of people that are long the stock, like myself, will not be selling at a price anywhere near what it is today. You know, the only chance of them getting hold of my shares is if it more than doubles. And I believe that a lot of people on the long side are also this way. And the chances of this happening are much, much higher when there's not that many stocks out there for people to buy back. And that's kind of what we're seeing with this increase in the short float. You know, this is, I think, nearly the highest we've ever seen it. So a lot of people think that Tattooed Chef is going to zero for some reason. I think they're stupid, but maybe it's me that's stupid. Who knows? But anyway, I want to bring this to you guys' attention. Now that Tattooed Chef is in the Russell Index. We're seeing that lots of big investment banks and hedge funds have started to buy up the stock to make up part of their positions in the Russell 2000 or 3000. So we're seeing companies like Morgan Stanley, JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, they've all started to buy into Tattooed Chef. And when these institutions start to buy into Tattooed Chef, they're the kind of buys that are going to be massively increasing the price. Retailers can move the price somewhat in a coordinated attack, but it's really the investment banks that move these stocks. So the trick is just to get into them before the investment banks find that they're a great deal. Now, the problem with shorting a stock is that you have a limited amount of time that you have to cover that stock. If you're long the stock, I can hold this literally forever. There's no time limit for me to hold this, but with a lot of short positions, there is a certain amount of time that they have to take to cover. So they're expecting like short-term moves that this stock's going to go down. And the thing is, if the price continues to go up, they're going to get more and more trapped. They're going to lose more and more money. And the thing is, if the stock does go to zero, I just lose all of my initial investment. That's it. If this stock doubles, they lose all of their initial investment, but the stock can keep going. If it goes up 200, 300, 400%, doesn't matter what the price is, they're gonna have to eventually buy it back. So these losses can actually massively exceed what you're actually putting into the stock when you're shorting it. So that's something to keep in mind. A lot of the people that do short these kind of stocks are putting a lot of money in. So, there is a potential that we could see a squeeze on this stock. And if that does happen, I'll be a very happy camper. It's probably not going to change my thesis unless it's going to like 4x or 5x. At that point, I might consider selling out. But even if it doubles, it's probably not going to happen. So it'd be very interesting to see how this plays out. So I'd love to hear what you guys think about Tattooed Chef. Is this going to be the next stock that gets squeezed, or do you think it's going to be a good long-term hold? Do you think it's going to zero? Whatever it is, I want to hear your comments in the comments section. So thank you guys so much for watching. Please make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. It really helps to get these videos out to more people. So my name is Seeney, and we'll see you later.